Yo, what's up guys? Today we're going to be checking out the Galaxy S22 Plus versus the S23 Plus. So this is a very interesting comparison. A lot of people wanted to see this one here, and for good reasons. It's these are very interesting phones, some of the best phones that you can get in the used refurbished marketplace. Now the price difference here. So again, the S23 going to be around $459 at its lowest, around that $500 price range. Now the S22 Plus you can actually find for about $350. Sometimes you can see like $300 right here. So there is pretty much, you can expect a $200 to $150 difference with these phones, which is definitely a big deal when you are on a budget. So let's go ahead and get into it and see what is the overall upgrades here, and is it worth, which one is worth getting. Alright, so hardware wise, you can see they both look pretty similar. They both have the glass and metal design. They're both IP68 dust and water resistant. What you will notice here, the biggest change is really the camera cutout with the hardware here. The S23 has the more, I guess you could say modern design. But this still looks really good. I think it doesn't look old at all. It just has the classic Samsung cutout here that a lot of people like, but now you have this design where they just basically removed it, right? But pretty much the same in terms of how they feel. They're both rounded, so they feel really good in the hand as well too. And yeah, no real difference here when it comes to the overall hardware here. And it's pretty much the exact same thing when we talk about the displays. You're looking at pretty much the exact same display. Both phones have the dynamic AMOLED 120 Hz HDR10 Plus. Both phones have 1750 nits peak brightness. They're both 6.6 inches. They're both 1080p, and they both pretty much have the same PPI 393. And yeah, there's really no difference. I think the difference here is that the S23 Plus has Gorilla Glass Victus 2, and the S22 Plus has the Gorilla Glass Victus Plus. Basically, they are the same display, guys. So they both look really good, guys. They do a fantastic job outdoors as well too, in direct sunlight, so that's not an issue. Both have really slim bezels as well, and yeah, like I said, the displays are pretty much identical, so there's going to be no real display difference here when it comes to that. And again, they're both flat. They both have the same screen to body ratio, I believe. Alright, so now we get to an actual difference here, is the processor. So on the S23 Plus, we do have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, and then we have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 on the S22 here. So the base configurations, this is 256 gigs and 8 gigs of RAM, and this one is 128 gigs and 8 gigs of RAM. So as you can see, it does beat it in the single and multi-core score. And then when we pull up 3D Mark, I ran some tests so you guys can see. Here are the 3D Mark tests. You guys can see the FPS. And then when we come down here, you can see the temperature is much cooler on the S23 here. You can see as well, battery and frames per second. So overall performance wise, the S23 is going to be a cooler device, and you are going to get slightly better performance. But I would say, and I'll bring this up when we get to PUBG here, but here is another test that I ran. It was a longer test, and you guys can see the temperature difference as well too. There's a clear temperature difference. The S23 Plus doesn't get as hot. And then you can see the battery life right here, from 47% to 39%, from 38% to 28%. So you guys can see those tests, and let's go ahead and bring up PUBG. Alright, so when it comes to gaming performance, the gaming performance here is going to be pretty similar if you are a casual gamer. Where you will notice the actual difference here is, I would say, if you're a little bit more of a hardcore gamer, because again, the S23 Plus doesn't heat up as much, and then for right now it does have slightly better settings in PUBG. The S22 Plus, it only has the 90 frames, and then for the S23 does have the 120 frames, so you have better settings for right now. The S22 could get the update, we just don't know when. But I would say, you know, if you're somebody who's really into playing games, Genshin, Fortnite, these games that, you know, require quite a bit of power, then you would be pretty good with the S23 Plus, because it's, you know, it's a really efficient chipset. But I would say, like, for me, if you're like playing a match or two, the S22 Plus is a really good deal, considering that you get really good graphic settings, and it is also very fast as well too. Now, as far as the overall software experience, you're pretty much getting the same software experience. I think the S23, the only difference is you have the circle to search on here. Not circle to search, but the you have the hold down for a slow motion video. You don't have that on the S22, but you have all of the rest of the AI features on the S22. That's pretty much it. Obviously you're going to get you know, slightly more, I think a year of extra software updates, because, you know, obviously it's a year older phone. But yeah, so not a big deal when it comes to the overall software experience. It's virtually the same experience. As far as like biometrics and stuff like that, they are essentially the same as well. The ultrasonic, the fingerprint scanner works flawlessly on both of these phones, and then face unlock works really well on both of these phones as well too. And like I said, they have essentially the same features. Let's see if we can spot a speaker difference here with these two phones. We'll start with the S23. So there's a slight difference here. The S23 Plus does have slightly a little bit more bass, so it does give overall a fuller sound. The S22 Plus doesn't sound, you know, terrible. It sounds decent, but you definitely can spot the bass upgrade, which overall is going to make it sound better. All right, so let's talk about the cameras here. So you should be able to spot the difference. I kind of noticed the difference with the 3 times or the telephoto. I noticed like that was kind of like the upgrade. But let me know what you guys think of the photos here. So on the S23 here, we do have a 50 megapixel standard, 10 megapixel telephoto, 3 times optical, 12 megapixel ultra wide. It shoots in 8K 24 and 30 with a 12 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 30 and 60. Now the S22 pretty much has kind of the same setup. It's a 50 megapixel standard, 10 megapixel telephoto, 3 times, 12 megapixel ultra wide. This one shoots in 8K 24, so there's no 8K 30 on here. And then you have a 10 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60 as well too. They both do max zoom of up to 30 times as well. So check out the side-by-side stills video. Let me know what you guys think. All right, so let's discuss the battery situation here. So The S23 Plus has a slightly bigger battery at 4700 milliamps. It has 45 watt charging, wireless and reverse wireless charging. The S22 Plus has a 4500 milliamp hour battery, 45 watt charging, wireless and reverse wireless charging. Yes, the S23 Plus does have better battery life. And that's not to say that the S22 Plus has bad battery life. The battery life is actually pretty decent on the S22 Plus. It's not bad at all, actually. But yeah, you will get better screen on time with the S23, and then you also get better standby time. It's simply because slightly bigger battery and better chip efficiency. But yeah, so like I said, it's not a crazy upgrade here. It's just a very, slight, minute thing Samsung fixed with this upgrade. It really comes down to what people really think about the slight camera improvement, as well as the processor. Like I said, to make the move to get the S23 Plus, you would really have to be a gamer. Like, you would really have to seriously play games. If you don't play games, you really don't need to spend the extra 150 to 200 bucks to get the, you could just get the S22 Plus and be perfectly fine, honestly. They're pretty much doing the same thing. But like I said, to sum it up, both phones are extremely close to each other. It's not that there's very minute upgrades here. If you're a gamer, you get this phone. You spend the extra money, definitely. If you're not, just get the S22 Plus. You save money as well. You save about 200 bucks, honestly. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.